Sir, I would like to have your view on what could be done to facilitate this process and whether private sector involvement with the private sector promoters bringing in some funding support and domain expertise on a PPP model would provide the desired acceleration to the process. Sir, your views.
I think, firstly, thank you for inviting me here. I think the question that has been raised is a very important question because India is currently growing at something like 6.7% per annum, and we hope to grow at a much faster pace in the days to come. Now, as far as the state of Maharashtra is concerned, and I'll limit my talk to Maharashtra. As far as state of Maharashtra is concerned, we are the most urbanized state. We have more than 64 to 65% of the people who live in the urban areas. Nationally, the population of people which were living in the urban areas has also crossed 50%. It is something like 56% now. So therefore, the whole thought process that we were having, that rural development, India is a rural country, that has that needs to undergo a paradigm change. That is the first thing. Now, within the state, there are 28 municipal corporations. Now, when we address this question, we need to understand what are the types of these municipal corporations. So we have municipal corporations like the BMC, the Brihan-Mumbai Municipal Corporation. And the BMC is a behemoth. Its asset base, its revenue bases are so large that it is larger than several states. So BMC actually does not need to borrow. BMC may decide to borrow if it wants to expand its footprint, but it essentially does not need to borrow. The second is we have corporations like the Pune Municipal Corporation, the Nagpur Municipal Corporation, the Thana Municipal Corporation. These are the next level of corporations. These corporations do need to borrow. They can borrow a bit. And then we have the other municipal corporations like, Chandrapur Municipal Corporation, Ahmednagar Municipal Corporation. Now, these are the places where the real market lies. Now, what's happening is that, in addition to that, Maharashtra in the urban sector has these development bodies like the MMRDA, SITCO, SRA, MAHADA, and so many of them. Now, these organizations are nimble and they do borrow from the market. Now, what is happening that the entire focus is on Bombay or Mumbai, and the entire focus is thereby on these organizations, whereas the real focus of the market, the private sector, should be towards the interior, the hinterland of Maharashtra. Nobody comes there. I'll tell you, I used to be additional commissioner at Nagpur. I was municipal commissioner of Jalgaon. I was the chairman of Nagpur Improvement Trust. We used to look for places and people who would come and help us raise resources and bonds. The response was really, really difficult. Now, when I moved to Mumbai, when I was in BMC, when we had everybody coming to us and saying, please borrow from us. And we used to tell them, no, we don't need your borrowing. So that is the thing. I think the market lies somewhere where we are not looking. The next thing is the role of the private sector. So how do we use public-private partnership to finance? And that is a very big thing. So our government has two things, assets, that is land and several assets like that. And second is government has rights, And if government normally tends to think and work in terms of grants. कि भाई grant आएगा और वो budget में इतना पैसा है और उससे काम करेगा. Now we need to change that thought into that we will raise resources. There's an interest cost. This is the time. If it is delayed, then this is the time value. This is the time cost. And we need to plan it like that. And I'm happy to tell you that actually we have made huge inroads into the public-private partnership space. Like for instance, the airport at Navi Mumbai. That is a public-private partnership airport. And when I was the MD of SITCO, we even got the financial closure of that project done. And today in MMRDA is doing projects worth 3 lakh crores. And we have another project of 5 lakh crores in the pipeline. And today in MMRDA, we are handling a debt burden about 1.5 lakh crores. So that is how the thing has changed. So therefore, I feel that while there is a lot of opportunity in the larger areas like Mumbai, but there is a greater opportunity in the hinterland, because that is where the change is happening in the big way. And I think that is where the focus needs to be.
Sir, only one point. Sir, you have very clearly elaborated the success of PPP model. But my only question is, sir, in the past, we have seen this has been restricted as of now only to like airport or that kind of large infrastructure. But don't you think that especially when you talked about investments not being made in the hinterland, setting up manufacturing facilities under public-private partnership, where probably the government or the SLUs or the concerned municipalities can give the land as an equity, and the domain expertise and funding being brought in by the private partnership. In this model, sir, previously we have seen some successful industrial setup like SPIC and even Titan in down south. Could that model not be again revisited and replicated?
As far as our state is concerned, it is not that the model has not been tried. It has been tried in the industrial side and it has been tried in the urban side as well. So if you see, like for instance, what is the SRA and what does the SRA do? The SRA is an entirely public-private partnership type of thought process, where the government helps the private entrepreneur in getting the land, and the private entrepreneur brings in his expertise and his business. Similarly, land as an equity has been tried. For instance, it has been tried in Nagpur, in the Mihan project. It has been tried. We even set up a power plant in Mihan project under the same public-private partnership route. However, when equity has been, when land has been taken as an equity and the entity has failed, you see, the private sector also has to be that powerful. For instance, in the Navi Mumbai International Airport, the land is the equity of CITCO. So CITCO owns 26%, and the equity is land and the land development that CITCO has done. And the Navi Mumbai International Airport, that is owned by MIA, Mumbai International Airport Limited, they are putting in they are building in the building and they are getting everything else done. So here the model is working. Initially, the private entrepreneur was stressed out, but later on with the change in ownership, the private entrepreneur has infused money and financial closure has been achieved and the project is going on at full speed. But there are several places, and more places than not, where that thing has been not so successful. Now, having said that, see, India is growing as a country. So what we tried 10 years back, so the state was also not as strong, and the private sector was not as strong, and the markets were not as strong. Now, 10 years down the line, we are having a consistent growth. I think more than 10 years, 15 odd years, we are having a consistent growth of around 7%. So it's a huge growth. And now I think that right time has come that, you know, the state and the private sector, we need to sit together and we need to bring down models whereby public interest is safeguarded, because public interest cannot be compromised, and necessary opportunity is provided to the private sector, incentive is provided to the private sector, so that they can bring in their investment and these models can be explored.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights.